Hi there everyone, this is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage channel. I am making a video today for you guys, but you're not seeing a sewing machine. What are you looking at? You are looking at a project I've got where I am assembling the pieces and parts of a Singer carry case. Now, I've shown you guys carry cases before, and this particular case is, or the base of it I should say, goes to this. This is one of the bent wood or waterfall style Singer carry cases, and I had the base here. Now when I got this, I ended up getting this with another machine, and it was kind of just handed to me in a pile. Now fortunately the case was not, we wouldn't say it was damaged per se. What happened here was the case had basically come apart. And I've been assembling this over a couple of days now because I wanted to give it the full 24 hours to dry as the instructions on my glue indicate. And I've been using these clamps. These are pressure clamps. And I'll kind of take this one off and show you guys what it looks like. This one, let's see, I'm trying to remember where I picked this up. You can get these at any hardware store or big box store. It says quick grip, but they make different types. But I like it because it has sort of a silicone-like edge, so it shouldn't scratch when you're using it. And basically, what happens is it slides on this shaft, and then you can move it. You push this in, you move it, and then you squeeze this handle until you get it nice and snug, and that holds whatever you're trying to glue. Now, the Singer cases came in basically during this period. They came in two sizes. This one is what many of you are used to seeing. This is what would be called the standard for the time, the Singer bed length, which is 14 3/4 inches. And then, of course, it should be 7 inches deep because those were the dimensions of Singer sewing machines for decades and decades. A good chunk of the history, at least the vintage era, were this size. Now, you guys know that later on, when Singer came out with the Slant-O-Matic machines, and they got into their 400 and 500 series, particularly, those machines had a longer bed length, and they actually made the bed length wider, and then if you needed to, but thankfully they kept, you guys can see on this piece is waiting for me to glue it, still has the hinges. The dimensions between the hinges were similar. So let's say you had an older Singer table, you could, excuse me, not an older Singer table. If you had a Singer table that had the wider dimension and you had an older machine, of course you could insert that older machine in, and Singer would often create a little flap to sort of fill in that bed space. The other dimension was 12 inches and 3/16, I believe. This is the shorter one, or the less wide one, I should say. And this, of course, would have held machines like the Singer 99 or 99K, if it was made in Scotland. And what else? The 185, and there may be another machine I'm forgetting. But the point is, they came in basically these two dimensions. Over here, many of them would have this little section, it's like a little box. Remember, these were, believe it or not, the portable machines. Are still pretty heavy, but these were Singer's portable lines. But back to what I was originally wanting to talk about, which is this is basically a tools video, right? So what I would suggest to you guys, let's say you get one of these, and what will you notice? The first thing you'll notice is there are blocks. And these little corner blocks are used to reinforce the box. And you will often see this on wooden furniture. And I'm glad that they did all this reinforcing because, honestly, these cases were beautifully made and pretty darned indestructible. Now, it sounds ironic because here it is. You can see at some point it came apart, And there is a groove. I think I can show it right here. There's a groove in the sides, and the bottom, which is some sort of masonite material, it actually slides in that groove, but you still need your corner blocking. And you can see here, it's actually the top of the blocking has a little rubber stopper to it, and that is this is the front, by the way. This is where the front of the machine, and if you're not sure, look for the little swivel tab that was designed to hold the machine still in the case. Okay, so if you're going to do this and you're going to reconstruct this, I was fortunate, none of it was split, it just kind of came apart. Now, I don't know if it was stored in an attic somewhere, but don't forget, the glue was probably 60, 70 years old, so, you know, I'm still impressed that the thing lasted this long. Thankfully, it wasn't broken or split. Like the little short one has a bit of a split in the base, but this one does not. But structurally, both of these trays are in good shape. But this one simply needed to be basically put together. So I dusted off, made sure there was no dirt in any of the joints. And what I would do is I would attach, and you can see here, right here, where this comes together. Same thing on this side. And this is the last piece that needs to be installed. And you can see here, and this is, of course, this is one of the foot, well, what's left of the foot base. I got to go back and maybe put some felt here or something. But anyway, the point is, you know, I have no interest in trying to find a new case or a plastic case, because these wooden cases are really wonderful. One thing to note is this particular sewing case was missing one of its block pieces. These little, it's basically a square dowel. I know we're used to thinking of dowels as being, maybe you call it a mortise point, I don't know, but actually one of them was missing. So what did I do? I went to the hardware store, and I found they have a section of wooden dowels. They have round dowels, but then they also have square dowels. This was in the dowel section. That's why I'm calling it a dowel. And this one is this particular dowel, which is essentially the same size as the original. I simply measured the original. This is see if I can get it in the camera for you guys so you can see. Yeah, this is 5/8, so it's just a hair bigger than a half an inch. And I wanted to get as close as I could, because you definitely want these corner pieces. Now, what I'm going to be doing, you know, my next thing is I'll be gluing this dowel. This is, you can count them here. We've got one missing. Who knows, it's probably out. I have no idea where it went, but it wasn't included when I got this. So this was very inexpensive. I think it was $2 for the dowel or something. And I just took a little miter saw and cut it to measure, and measured, make sure, you know, I made sure that I measured the same height as my other here. And so what I'll be doing is I'm going to be gluing this dowel into place, and then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll clamp it. Now the reason I'm doing that first is because when that is dry, I'm going to be attaching this long piece. But of course, when I do that, when I attach this long piece, guys, I need something to clamp it to. And because of the way this joins, it's not an easy thing to clamp. Once this is glued, then I can simply clamp. Get my hands out of the way here. I can clamp this together, and then I'll simply get it snug, and it'll let it sit for 24 hours. That's what the directions say. One thing to mention too is that there are different types of glues you can get. There's, you know, you go into a hardware store and you can be a dizzying array of glues and adhesives. you may have something that works for you already. Any type of carpenters, they're often called carpenter's glues. Most all of them are water-based. And I've seen different glues, Now this particular brand says Elmer's. I would not use Elmer's white glue. That's, craft glue that, a lot of people use in people's children use in school. But this is something different. Now, Elmer's makes a carpenter's glue, and it may work totally fine. But this is the latest and the greatest Elmer's wood glue. It's called Pro Bond Max. And it sounds like a new shampoo. But the reason I'm using this is that it is my understanding, I have seen some testing of glues, and this is one of the strongest that you can get, and it's, I don't know, it's a couple of dollars more than the other. It's not, it's not neither here nor there in terms of its cost. It's not that much more, but the reason I want the strongest carpenter glue that I can find, at least I can find easily, is because this basically is the tray that will hold a Singer sewing machine, and they are heavy. They can weigh as much as a bowling ball, so I want this thing to be really strong. I've done this type of work before, and when I have, it's as long as you do, make sure the pieces are clean, apply the glue. You can apply it liberally and wipe it up later, and let it dry. Don't be in a hurry. This goes back to something I often repeat myself. Take your time, right? And there's a reason why the bottle says allow glue to dry to set for 24 hours. And I just leave my my clamp on, is because it needs to cure. It needs to not only dry, but it undergoes a chemical process where it strengthens, right? And that's what you want. So, and this is, again, if it's extremely humid out, you may want to allow longer. Those of you who've ever had paint not dry, things like humidity in the air can affect that. But this is, I've been using this for a while now, been pretty impressed with it. If you know of something better or less costly that works just as good, let me know. And again, some of you may have carpenter's glue and you may use it and it may work just fine. But anyway, this is the one I've got, and very happy with it so far. So there you go, rebuilding. If you ever get a case like this and it's coming apart, don't throw it away. It actually may just need some gluing. And if a part is missing and it's something like this, that's not hard to find and to cut, consider doing that, because these things, like I said, my gosh, it's 65 years plus, maybe even older, and these things had a hard life. The sewing machine was left in these cases. The cases were moved and handled, and it's really amazing that they're as strong as they are. So anyway, waste not, want not, as my grandparents used to say. And I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any experience of your own reassembling or renovating your sewing machine carrying case from back in the day, put your comments down there in the comment section. And I appreciate you guys watching. Take care.